Shri Krishna Namo Namaha. At first, I offer my prayers in the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. I also offer my humble respect to all of you. Today, from Uddhav Gita, the last message of Lord Shri Krishna, we will be listening Chapter 4, where Brahmana is instructing Yadu King about his 7 other teachers. The holy words are as follows. The Brahmana said, "The acquisition of anything whatsoever that men hold as dearest leads to misery. But he who knows this and gives up all possession attains to endless bliss." An osprey with a piece of flesh was tormented by others, stronger than itself, that had no flesh. It gave that flesh up and became happy. I do not care for honor or dishonor, nor have I any anxiety such as men with houses and children have. I sport with the self, take pleasure in the self, and roam on earth like a child. Two people only are free from anxiety and immersed in supreme bliss: the child that knows nothing and never works, and the man who has realized the being above the gunas. Once upon a time, a maiden, in the absence of her relatives elsewhere, herself had to receive a party who came to her house to ask her in marriage. As she was husking paddy for their meal in a retired corner, O king, the conch bracelet in her wrist made a great noise. The intelligent girl, considering this as disgraceful, was ashamed and broke the bracelets one by one till only 2 were left in each arm. As she went on husking, even those 2 bracelets produced a sound. So she removed one of them also. From the single bracelet there was no more sound. Roaming over the world with a view to know the ways of men, I learned this lesson from her, O queller of foes. Where many dwell, there is quarrel, and even between 2 people there is a chance for talk. Therefore one should live alone, like the bracelet of the maiden. Conquering posture and controlling the breath, one, ever alert, should collect the mind together and hold it steady through renunciation and systematic practice. Where being steady, this collected mind gradually gives up the impulsions of work and winnowing of rajas and tamas through increased sattva become pacified, having no fuel to feed it. Having the mind thus controlled within himself, the man at that time knows nothing, external or internal, just as the arrow maker with his mind absorbed in making the arrow did not notice the king passing by his side. The sage should wander alone, be homeless, ever alert and resorting to caves. He should not betray his real worth by his actions and be without companions and reticence of speech. It is extremely troublesome and useless for a man to build a house, since his body is so frail. The snake enters a house made by others and is happy and prosperous. Through the energy of time, the Lord Narayan, who is one, draws back at the end of the cycle this universe which he created before through his Maya. The principles of sattva, etc., being put into equilibrium by time, which is his own Shakti, the primeval being, the Lord of Prakriti and Purusha, then remains one without a second, himself his own support through supporting the whole universe. He, the Supreme Lord of the high and low, remains a mass of transcendent knowledge and bliss, known as the Absolute and without attributes. O queller of foam, he, through his transcendent power, stirs into activity his Maya, consisting of 3 gunas, and through that projects first the Sutra. Sages describe this manifestation of the Prakriti as projecting the universe in which the universe is strung and through which the Jiva transmigrates. As the spider spreads its web from its heart through the mouth and after playing with it swallows it again, so the Lord also does. On whatever object a corporeal being may concentrate his whole mind with his intellect, either through love or through hate or through fear, he attains the form of that very object. O king, the cockroach being confined by a Brahmakita within a wall, thinks and thinks of what till it attains a form, partly resembling that of the insect, without discarding its own. Thus, I have learned these things from all these teachers. Now listen, O king, to what I have learned from my own body, as I relate it to you. The body is a teacher of mine, being the cause of dispassion and discrimination, and being subject to birth and death, which always bring pain in their wake. With its help, I adequately reflect on the ultimate principles, yet I have known for a certainty that it belongs to others, and hence I wander without attachment. That very body for the sake of whose welfare a man adds unto himself and maintains a wife, children, sense objects, domestic animals, servants, home and relatives, and painfully amasses wealth, withers at the end of its term like a tree, creating the seed of a fresh body for the man. The tongue attracts the man to one direction and thirst to another. The sex impulse draws somewhere and skin, stomach, and ears to others' quarters. The nose attracts in one direction, the restive eyes elsewhere, while the tendency for work draws to something else. All these undermines the man like so many wives of a householder. The Lord, through his eternal power, created various abodes such as trees, reptiles and beasts, birds, insects and fish, but was not satisfied in his heart with these. Then he made the human body, which is endowed with the desire to realize Brahman, and he was delighted. The wise man, having, after many births, obtained this extremely rare human body, which through frail is yet conducive to man's supreme welfare, should quickly strive for liberation before the body which is always subjected to death chances to fall, for sense enjoyment is obtainable in any body. With my dispassion roused thus, and with illumination as my light, I roam over this world established in myself, free from attachment and egoism. Verily, knowledge from a single teacher is neither very steady nor very ample. Well, Brahman, though one without the second, is nevertheless sung of variously by sages. The Lord said, saying this to Yadu, the highly gifted Brahmana begged his leave, and being saluted and duly worshipped by the king, joyously went to his way, just as he had come. Hearing the words of the Avadhuta, that progenitor of our forefathers was rid of all attachment and became of an even minded. Thus concludes Chapter 4 from Uddhav Gita, the last message of Lord Shri Krishna. Thank you for listening. Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Namaha.